Hi, this is Melanie Willis, and welcome to the Homeschool Show. So we are here this week. We've just returned from the Thrive Homeschool Conference, where we had an absolute blast, and we got to see many of you in person. And so I hope that you enjoyed your time there. And if you weren't there, you can look online at nche.com and listen to many of those recordings from lots of the workshops there. And so we hope that you will join us next year if you were unable to be there this year. So it is almost summertime, and Amanda and I are taking just a little short break right now. So this week we have for you a recording that we made about this time last year that answers all kinds of your questions from what we've seen on the internet. Things like, when can I file my notice of intent? Why isn't my child reading yet? Do I need to test my kindergarten? Does my curriculum need to be accredited? And lots more things that we cover during this episode. And I hope that you will listen to it and enjoy it and learn from it. As always, don't forget to like, comment, share with your friends, especially if you have friends that this is their first year homeschooling. A lot of these questions will apply to them. And always reach out to us. Tell us what you think. Tell us things you'd like to hear about. Please comment in underneath wherever you're listening to this from, if it's in YouTube or Spotify or on Facebook, and let us know your thoughts. They are important to us. You can always reach us at thehomeschoolshow@nche.com. And so I hope you enjoy this episode.
Welcome to the Homeschool Show. I'm Amanda Wares, your host, and I have with me our co-host, Melanie Willis. Hey, Melanie.
Hi, how's everybody doing today?
We're making it. We are making it. We're on the downhill slide of my school year. I know some people have different schedules, but I'm kind of counting down the days to the end of our scheduled things, co-op classes and just different things like that. So I'm kind of ready for some more relaxed days.
Yes. And we actually do not have co-op this year. It's the first time in many, many years that I'm not involved in a co-op. But I'm teaching my sister's children at the same time, so it kind of has added a little extra. We do, however, homeschool year round. So
yeah. I know. It's just a little, I don't know, it feels different in the summer. Even if you're still doing school, it just feels different. I don't know why, but
it really does.
Right.
And we do a lot more sitting out on the porch to do school, and it just makes it much nicer. It really does.
Is, yes. I totally agree.
There's more daylight after we finish school, so I think that helps me personally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Love it. All right. So what do we have for today?
So, Amanda, we are going to do an entire day of what we've seen on the internet. And It's been a little bit of time since we've done that. Yeah. And most of this is a bit of a repeat of things that we've talked about before. However, I think what I'm seeing is we have a lot of newer people that are finishing out their first year and some people that are getting ready to start their first year. And so I think it's just real important that we answer some of these questions.
Great. That's so fun. All right.
So, are you ready? Yeah. Getting ready to throw Amanda under the bus here. So, the very first question that we have for you, Amanda, today is testing. All the things about testing. But we're going to start out with, we have a mom that she has a kindergartner that she has just started homeschooling in the past few months. And she's like, do I test them? And how do I test them?
That is such a great question. So first off, I think you have to start with, I'm assuming if it's a kindergartner that they are under the age of 7. And so then I would assume or ask the question, I'm assuming there is not either you don't have an open homeschool with the Division of Non-Public Education, Or if you do, maybe you have older kids, this kindergartner is not added to that homeschool. I'm making some assumptions there. So if you don't have an open homeschool, if this kindergartner is not added to that homeschool as an official student, then no, please don't. You don't need to test them. You do not. Legally speaking, the only, compulsory attendance age starts at age 7. You do not need to, or nor should you, open a homeschool until your child is 7. And if you already have an open homeschool with some older kids, don't add your student until they're 7. Why? Why do we always say this? Because in my own interpretation of the law, there's different interpretations. The law just says we have to administer a nationally normed standardized test once per year, annually, right? So some people take that to mean once every school year. Some people take that to mean literally once a year, calendar year. I personally interpret that to mean once per calendar year. So I tell people all the time, once you open your school, you have a year before you need to test. So if you wait, as you should, in my opinion, to add that 7-year-old until they're 7, then you won't be testing them until they're almost 8, which in my experience and my opinion, not very humble opinion probably, I just think that's a better situation all the way around.
Absolutely.
They'll be older. They'll probably, most 8-year-olds are at least reading pretty well or starting to read. It just makes it easier, less stressful on everybody. So my answer to anybody with a kindergartner out there, no, please don't. Please don't.
There. And so you actually answered the next question, which was this timing of the test thing. Everybody, they struggle with that, and it's, I feel that pressure, making sure I'm doing everything the way I'm supposed to do it. And
Of course.
so I think you did a pretty good job of answering sometime within each school year, do the test.
Yes. And let me just add, I think because of the way that public school, they have EOGs, the end of grade tests, right? So we get it in our head that, oh, this is the same as that. It's not the same. It's not the same. We are not bound. We don't have to test at the end of the school year. You can test whenever you want. A lot of people do wait till the end of the school year. It's just kind of a nice cap on the year or whatever, but you don't have to. There's nothing in the law, again,
Right.
that says a certain period of time that you have to test. So yeah, it's really okay. I promise.
And there is really no need for excess worry about it. It's just
No.
something you do it once a year. And it was great for me to be able to look at the test results afterwards and say, okay, they're doing better than I thought they were, or now I know exactly what area I need to focus on to help them do better in an area.
Yes.
But for the most part, it was always very reassuring to me. And that's awesome. And to be able to talk to your student about it and say, you're doing fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so before we leave this subject, Amanda, do you have any recommended tests? What have you used most of the time with your children?
Ooh, that's such a good question. So for most of the years, with especially my older 3 in particular, we tested with our homeschool group. So our homeschool group every year gets together as a group and does testing with whoever wants to do that. And I always kind of liked that environment. I liked that they were kind of getting exposed to being in that environment, being in a classroom a little bit. This was before we ever did any kind of co-op or anything like that. And it sort of made testing time like fun. Oh, we get to go and test, but we also get to play with our friends,
Right.
So we did that for many years. And most of the time we used the California Achievement Test or the Terra Nova whenever it went to that. At some point in there, it switched to the Terra Nova. So we use that a lot of years. And then with my current student, because, I have the older three and then the one left, we've done a lot of different things with him. Some of the years he's done the group testing. Other years, just because of schedules or whatever, we've done the online standardized testing, and he's done the Stanford achievement test online, which is really nice because it is not timed. So that has been really kind of a relaxed way to get it done. But yeah, we've kind of used those for the most part. How about you?
Well, and I have only done a group site one time, and the rest of the time I've done it in my home. And
Yeah.
there was a couple of times that I guess we sent off to different companies that would send us the physical test, and then we mailed it back, and then they would mail us the results. The past several years, we have used academicexcellence.com and done that untimed California Achievement Test. And that is a real winner for me, that untimed part. And some of my kids being in the group setting was more stressful. Some of them, they thrived in that.
I know.
But
Yeah.
being able to just be at home, and for those that were kind of worried about the testing, which I try to tell them, you don't need to be worried. It's like we would do it for however long their attention span lasted and then stop. And you could take as much time as you needed to. And I really enjoy that. And then I like the fact that as soon as we hit that button, you immediately get those test results back in your email. So I really
Yes.
enjoy that part of it. And so that's
Yes,
really
I
where we
really
are
like
right now.
it.
So,
Yeah.
all right, you ready for the next question?
Sure.
Okay. And we did, I remember, I think this was in the fall that we did a really big discussion about accredited curriculum. And so I saw a woman yesterday actually that she's talking about the curriculum she's been using with her children and how much she loves this curriculum and how great her kids are doing with it. But she's found out that it's not accredited, and she's like, what do I do?
Oh, no. Okay. So I feel like we fight this battle all the time and it keeps coming back around because certain companies out there make a really big to do and say, oh, we're accredited, blah, 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 make it. And of course, I mean, that sounds very official, very professional, all the things. But here's the reality. Number one, curriculum is not accredited. Institutions are accredited. And very often, that accreditation doesn't always mean what you think it means. Like, if you researched even the public schools in your area, probably all of them are not even accredited. It's just a stamp that people get on things, right? But the curriculum that we use, it is not accredited. I have graduated 3 kids. They have all 3 gotten into college. I've talked to numerous families that have done the same. And I think that's always the worry of, oh, if we don't use accredited curriculum, what's going to happen in the future? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Does not make a difference on the back end. It really, really does not. No college ever asks, was your curriculum accredited? No, never. No, that I'm aware, military, if they're going to play sports, no job that I've ever heard of asks. They don't want to know if your curriculum was accredited or not. And like I just said, there's no such thing as an accredited curriculum. They might say that, but it's not true.
Yeah.
So in the end, what's most important, if you have a curriculum that is working well for your family, that is doing a great job, and you're all learning and whatever with it, please, please stick with it. I think that is so important.
Absolutely. And it's real important to say. And what I was going to say was nobody's ever going to ask you what curriculum you used. No. The flip side of that, I've always used some, for the most part, I won't say always, I've always used some type of curriculum.
Mhm.
But You don't have to use any curriculum. So do not put too much pressure on what it is. If it's working for you and it's working for your children, that's fantastic. And if it's not, go find something else. There's so much
Yes.
available out there. Come to Thrive, go to the vendor hall and check out some stuff that you can put your hands on. There's lots to
Absolutely.
choose from. Okay.
Yep.
Next question. So this is a mom that is really frustrated because she cannot get her child to just sit down and do the work. Now, we have all dealt with this kind of stuff at some point in time. If you've homeschooled for any amount of years, you've dealt with this.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do want to mention in this particular case that the child is 4 years old. So, Amanda, what I'd really like for you to address to us is age-wise, and as we move through homeschooling, what is that average amount of time to spend
Yeah.
doing school in a day?
Yeah. So I heard a really long time ago that on average, a good gauge of time is about 30 minutes per grade level. And I have found with my own kids for that to be pretty accurate. Now, let me note that 30 minutes is like sit down, paper and pencil schoolwork, right? It's not reading aloud. It's not all the things, going outside and doing a nature walk. It's not all of those things because all of those things are school also, right? But that 30 minutes, I have always viewed it as that's the time of doing like math and phonics or whatever it is, book work, I guess, is a better way to put that. And I have found that to be pretty accurate. Now, let me say, I had my own. I'm trying to think how old he was, maybe 5, something like that. My own 5-year-old, my most active child was 5. And he was, brilliant, so smart, wanted to know all the things, wanted to learn all the things. However, could not sit still to save his life, could not sit down to save his life. And looking back, now this has been, almost 20 years. Looking back, I would have saved myself and him so much stress and worry and frustration if I had just waited, just let him play, just let him learn and discover outside, and not worried about the phonics or the math just because he was smart. I think as a younger mom, I had this idea, oh, he's so smart. We need to do this right now. That did not go like I thought it could go, like I thought it should go. And I would get frustrated. He would get frustrated. We did it in little chunks. We would do 10 minutes and then he would go run and then 10 minutes. But I think looking back, I really think we would have been better off just to wait, just let it go for a while, let it go for a few years, year or two. And then when he's ready and, I'm ready, he's ready, then it will come like that. A few more years down the road, I had another son, and I'm being very stereotypical because my girls were not super active like that, and they did not have trouble sitting still. So that's why I'm talking about my boys. I know girls can also be active and whatever, but I'm just talking about my boys. But a few years later down the road, my second son, at 6, he could not. I mean, I was like, oh, well, he's 6. Maybe we should try something a little bit. But we dipped our toe into some sit down schoolwork and it did not go well. It did not go well at all. And it was clear to me that he was not ready. So I waited. I was like, we're going to put it on the shelf. He's going to play for a whole nother year and then we'll try again. And the next year when we tried again, it was great. He was ready. Everything clicked. And it wasn't frustrating for him or for me. So are there 4-year-olds that can do sit down schoolwork? Sure. I had one. I had a 3-year-old, my younger daughter begged for schoolwork at 3. And so she did a little. I got her some little workbooks and she did, as she wanted. But generally speaking, if you're having a conflict, if you're having to force it, just wait. It'd be
Right.
so much better for both of you. Just put it on the shelf, let them play, let them learn, take them with you as you go to the grocery store, to the post office, as you're cooking, all those things. Just bring them alongside you and they will learn
Right.
more than they would have learned sitting down doing schoolwork. And then when they're ready, then pull it back out and it will go so much better.
Well, and I think if you have olders, then having a certain period of time where you maybe have them in the floor doing something else or even playing with a toy while they're listening to what's
Yes.
happening with your olders, they really pick up stuff that you don't realize that they are. But I think most of mine, 4 and 5 leading into 6, if we were doing something, it was a very short period of time. I remember a lot of times sitting in the kitchen floor because I would make letters on the floor with masking tape, and we would go over what the letters were and what the sounds were and things that began with that letter. And, but we only did it for 10 or 12 minutes at a time. And then maybe later in the day, we were having some book reading time, but we weren't sitting down for huge chunks of time at any point starting out. And even once they were moving into kindergarten and first grade, we weren't spending huge chunks of time on any subject,
Yeah.
15 minutes and we're moving on to the next thing, and you talked about that half hour rule. And I think that really held true for us. I think there became a point in time, 6th, 7th, 8th grade in there where it capped out. We didn't keep adding more time. They learned to be they're doing so much more on their own, and being self-led just doesn't take that much time.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're not listening to me lecture for an hour or two.
Right.
It's just different.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Okay. And I think I'm going to skip down real quick to another question that we'd had since you're talking about younger kids. This mom has a first grader and he's not reading yet. And why isn't he reading yet? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I know. It is. It's really tough because I think I know I did, especially when I was first starting out with homeschooling, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. I put a lot of pressure on my kids. I had this idea in my head, maybe from the school experience that we had, that everybody started reading at 5, And then I had my second son, and he legitimately is dyslexic. I've mentioned this numerous times on here, and he did not actually read independently until he was probably 9 or 10. But that experience taught me that there is a wide range of ages that is normal for kids to really start reading independently.
Yes.
Some kids, I was a ridiculously early reader. I was reading independently at age 3, which is crazy. I don't know how that happened. It just did. But I've had, kids that started reading at 6, and I've had kids that couldn't read until they were 9 or 10, like I said.
Right.
Most kids that I know fall somewhere in that range.
Yes.
But again, it's a range. It's a spectrum, and there's a lot of normal within that. So I think first you do want to figure out, like, are you experiencing just normal, not ready? Like I said, my younger son, I said a little bit earlier, my younger son, when he was 6, absolutely not ready. Could not remember the sounds and associate them with the letters, just wasn't ready. His brain was not making those connections yet. But a year later, it was like it clicked and he could make those connections. So for him, there was nothing wrong. There was nothing going on, that we needed to address. No dyslexia, no issues, no vision issues or anything like that. So I think that's the first question to ask is there something going on that's affecting it? Is there some other issue at hand? If there's not, just relax.
Yes,
Just
absolutely.
relax and just let it go. Keep reading to them. Keep reading to them. I cannot stress that enough. I read to all my kids like forever until, they were gone, really. But it's so important. I can't stress it enough. And just relax until they're ready. And sometimes they'll come to you and be like, "Oh, I'm ready now,"
Mhm, mhm.
And sometimes you'll reintroduce it, and it will just click. It won't be hard. It won't be stressful.
Yeah.
So
You'll just
that's my
accidentally say
best
something
advice.
different that hits in with them. Now, I want to say I remember when one of my sons was probably 9 at the time, and he was not reading well. Now, he was doing fantastic in school otherwise. In math, he was excelling greatly, but reading was not happening.
Yeah.
And we went to Thrive one year, and my husband went into one of the workshops, and when he came out, he was so excited to see me, and he's like, "Joel's okay, Joel's okay." And I'm like, "Did something happen I didn't know about?" And this workshop leader in there had told him that kids realistically, when the way that their brain matures and everything, he says 11 o'clock, 11 years old, 11 o'clock, 11 years old is that basic age where things click. And
Mm.
sure enough, Joel turned 11 and he started reading, so it's
Wow.
really okay.
Yeah.
And there are other circumstances. I do have one child that is severely dyslexic.
Mhm.
He reads okay now. He's a functioning person in the world. I have another student that has had multiple severe traumas in her life.
Mm.
She's 17. She reads very, very poorly, very
Mm.
poorly.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Exactly.
I hope more for her, and I'm working with her still, but she's a functioning person in this world, and it's okay.
Right.
So, but we could beat ourselves up, and we can cause more troubles between us and our child.
Yes.
It's not worth it to just beat something, to give
Yes.
it time. Just give it time. Okay, so
Absolutely.
one last question that's going to kind of be multi-tiered, but
Okay.
really important specifically for this time of year. The original question here says, after filing for my notice of intent to homeschool, how long before I need to remove my child from public school? Okay, so that's the original question. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
But I also want to discuss how that process works.
Mhm.
And then I'm seeing a lot of posts right now because the Department of Non-Public Education does shut this site down temporarily every year starting April 30th, which is only 2-3 days away from when this video will come out to you.
Yeah.
And so I want you, Amanda, to address all of those things.
Okay. Yes. Like Melanie just said, the DNPE does close the window to open new homeschools down in May and in June. And that is for their own purposes to, clean up their records and just do some housekeeping kind of things and all of that. So they will open back up in July. You will be able to file your notice of intent the early part of July. I don't know the exact date, but it's the first week or so of July. No big deal. Now, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of factors. It's hard to answer this question really effectively and concisely because there's so many factors at play. I know so many people that I've seen them too out on the internet that are really wanting to go ahead and pull their kid out now. Or they're looking ahead and wanting to start homeschooling in the new school year. And so then they're stressed, like, oh, maybe we need to get this done now. No. Okay. So first off, if you are wanting to go ahead and pull your child out this school year, if there's some whatever factor that might be happening that you need to go ahead with that, by all means, go ahead. Once you file your notice of intent, when you get that confirmation back from the DMPE and your homeschool is open officially according to them, then you need to go ahead and withdraw your student from the school, because according to the law, according to North Carolina law, a student cannot be enrolled in 2 schools at one time, right? So that answers that first question. If you've already filed your notice of intent, you've already gotten the confirmation, your school is open, you need to withdraw your student. But the other part to think about is if you're planning to start homeschooling in the fall, you're planning to start homeschooling this next school year, there is nothing to worry about. You do not need to stress. Just wait. It's okay. Just wait until the window opens back up in July. It does not take very long. These days, everything is electronic. You submit all the things, via internet, via the website, and then they email you, or if the email's working, sometimes it doesn't work. But you can check everything online. It takes sometimes hours, very fast, at the most, maybe a couple of days. So there's no need to worry. There's no need to rush or stress. So just wait. If you're not planning to homeschool until the new school year, just wait. It'll be okay.
I hope you all enjoyed that episode, and we will be back in just a few weeks with a special summer episode, and then there will probably be another 1 or 2 episodes like this, and then we will get kicked off for the new year. Keep homeschooling with confidence and joy.